everybody, welcome back to another episode, well, the first episode that I will be naming something about carriers. Yes, I am very organized. This is going to be a video series for people who want to play carriers and either aren't sure how or want to improve the way they play carriers. Just because I feel the carrier population in World of Warships, the carrier player population in World of Warships is very lacking. Like, I have never fought against this Stefan G tree guy, but I'm gonna take a calculated guess here and say he's not that good. Okay, I'm not dissing him. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying, you know, he might be a unicum and like one of the best carrier players in the EU server, but judging from the average, I'm gonna say he's not a very good carrier player. And that kind of makes me sad because carrier, I feel, is such an interesting class to play. It's totally different than any other ship type in World of Warships, but I feel like it's a very interesting. It brings a lot to the game, in my opinion. And oh shit, that's Des Moines. So, okay, that's two Des Moines. Probably should have noticed that. So the fact that there are two Des Moines in this game make it a very problematic game for a carrier to play, because Des Moines has it has one of, if not the best AA in the whole game. That was a strafe, by the way. Now you do a strafe by holding down Alt and clicking, and you can see the target marker. Now this is a disengage, and the thing about the disengage is that if you disengage before your enemy does, the enemy is stuck. The enemy fighters are stuck there, and you can pretty much do what I just did there, strafe them without them being able to do anything about it. I'm not saying it's fun, I'm not saying it's fair, that's just how I do it. So let's see, is the Des Moines next to the Montana and able to provide covering fire? If he is, this will be a very expensive run for me. If he's not, this will be a very painful encounter for that Montana anyway. Again, that was a manual torpedo drop. Now they are going to converge on him, as you can see, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna die. Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Maybe he might survive that. Yeah, he did survive that. That's a Montana and a Room and Edinburgh. So the thing is, you gotta know when to take calculated losses for your planes. You gotta know. Okay, actually, we haven't seen. Okay, so a few points about what's going on. We haven't seen any of the enemy attack planes yet, which tells me one of two things: either he's really weird and stacking his attack planes, or the alternative, he's going for a carrier snipe. Now, in this position, I'm not really afraid of a carrier snipe, but because, you know, I'm surrounded with my teammates. But in general, if you are not seeing the enemy fighters attack planes for 4 or 5 minutes, maybe, you know, even 3 or 4 minutes. There you see, I'm spotted by airplanes. Now that means, for 100% means that he is going for a carrier snipe, which is completely useless because I have my fighters in. So yeah, if you're not seeing the enemy attack planes in the first 3 minutes of the game, know that he is 99% sure going for a snipe. Now I do have the North Carolina here with me, and I have popped my defensive fire, and probably I'm not even gonna take any damage from this at all. Most likely, I need to be honest. Is he a Tayo? No, he's an Essex. Of course he is. And there you go. I'm pretty sure that North Carolina is actually AA spec, which is nice. And North Carolina has very good AA. Now, I will say this: if you're an aspiring carrier player and you're like, Michian, do you think I can do good as a carrier player? Yes, but there are some prerequisites. One, you must know the basics of every ship in the game. Like, I'm not talking about every ship class, I'm talking every ship in the game. You need to know basic information about it. Like, mostly what its turning circle is like, what its maneuverability, general, not only turning circle but also like speed is like. Like, obviously you can just do automatic drops like this, and it will calculate the lead and the where to drop the torpedoes from. But if you want to be a really successful carrier, you need to know how to do a manual drop. That is a prerequisite. You need to know how to do this. It's not that difficult. Just know that you need to give somewhat of a lead. You need to give at least a 500-meter lead or so. You need to know, like, for example, that a Khabarovsk is one of the most difficult targets to go for snipe, for a carrier kill with. It's not impossible, especially when he smokes up like a fucking idiot. But generally speaking, like right now, he's probably gonna die, to be honest. Let's see. Yep, he's dead. Yeah. You would not be able to do that with an automatic drop. You would just not be able to do it because the target marker would lose its marker. Like this Bismarck right now, you see this is an automatic, and you can't change where the strike is coming from. Obviously, you want to get as much of the ship in the circle as you want. But look at the manual drop and look how much smaller it is. Now you can use, as I was saying, you can use the whatchamacallit, automatic drop as an indicator to where you should be more or less aiming your manual strike, and then you can just switch to a manual as soon as they're about to launch their strike. This is totally an experience thing. There's no way to say 3 seconds before they launch their strike, you should switch to manual. That's the way to do it. It's very hard. It's very hard putting it like that. I don't think it's possible to really say that's how you should be doing it. It's something that comes from experience. Play carrier a lot. By the way, I'm speaking of manual dropping and learning how to do it. I really dislike the fact that Wargaming decided that, like, I understand why Wargaming decided to take away manual dropping, manual attacks from planes at tier 4 and 5. I just feel that it means that people who should be learning specific skills at those kind of tiers, like, as far as I'm concerned, you should know how to do basic. I'm not talking about, triple cross-dropping a destroyer, but basic things like knowing what a strafe is, how to use it effectively, and knowing how to manual drop. I feel this kind of skill set should arrive before tier 7. That's how I see it. I realize I understand why Wargaming did what they did and taken it away, because it was just too easy to seal club with a low tier carrier. But I feel like it's hurting the learning curve of carriers in general. Just considering what to go for here. What else can I say about carriers and what, like, the prerequisites of playing a carrier? You should know what flooding is. You should know what flooding is even before you start playing carriers. It's not a very complicated mechanic. Flooding is essentially when you hang on. Yes, flooding is essentially when a ship eats a torpedo. Hang on. What the fuck? Something was weird there. When a ship eats a torpedo and it causes a hole in the hull of the ship and it causes the ship to flood. Now, flooding is not guaranteed, especially not against battleships that have torpedo protection belts or torpedo armored belt. I'm not sure what the name of that thing is. Generally, it means that not every hit to a battleship will cause flooding. As you can see, 6 torpedo hits, only 1 flooding. However, because flooding does do a lot of damage, it usually means that if you do get a flood, at least 1 flood, the enemy is very likely to... Why is that guy? Okay. Yes, as I was saying, the enemy is very likely to... Jesus. To use the damage control. Now, damage control means that they instantly repair the flooding or the fire or any broken modules on the ship. Now, that allows you... Well, I only got 1 fire out of that, to be honest. That was kind of disappointing. But that allows you, for example, like right now what's going to happen is I made that strike with only 2 torpedo bombers out of my what you call it? Oh my god, I'm forgetting numbers now. 3, yes. So that means I have 1 in reserve, and that means that if this floods, which it did, he's now going to burn and flood to death because he already used his damage control on the 1 flooding. Not that I blame him. Not that I blame him. He totally did the right thing. He didn't really have a choice in that engagement. Like, he could either flood to death right off the bat, or he could have repaired it, and then he didn't really have anything to do. Now, this does not make carriers omnipotent destroyers of worlds. Okay, if he was closer to that rune than he was, and the rune would have supplied some defensive fire, defensive AA fire, because cruisers, the general role of cruisers is AA escort. I'm not saying all cruisers are IGN cruisers, for example, are shitty AA boats, but generally speaking, cruisers as a whole have very, very good AA, and all cruisers 6 and above, except for the British cruisers, get the defensive fire consumable, which triples the defensive AA fire of a ship for 40 seconds. 40 seconds. That's right. And it also scatters the drop. Now, you didn't get to see that. I hope I'll get it done in a different episode of how to carry it, but that's pretty much it. That's the Taiyo 2-9 Japanese carrier. I'll probably do an episode where I showcase low tier, just so an aspiring carrier can learn how to manage their planes and see how you can really, even though at low tier you have a lower carrier capacity, a lower hangar capacity, you can definitely manage your planes and do well, even in a low tier match. So that's it for me today for this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed and hopefully learned from this. Again, this is aimed for carrier captains, not so much for other people, because I realized that if you're playing a battleship and you only play battleships and cruisers and destroyers and you never touch the carrier, watching a carrier gameplay, it's like, what the fuck? Where's the world? What is this game? But for a carrier, like if you're trying to learn how to carrier, and if you're trying to learn like what to do and what not to do, and rules of thumb more or less and stuff like that, then this is probably for you. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.